Hey, what's up everyone? Nick here. Welcome back to the Batman Arkham Asylum challenge walkthrough. So we are playing this game on hard difficulty, and throughout this entire game I will not be taking any damage, and I'll also be maintaining perfect stealth when in the Predator encounters. So we are moving on to part 2 of the series. You should recognize this location. This is exactly where we left off at the end of the last video. And what I'm going to do, you're going to be, so with the dialogue that's occurring here, you're going to be given an objective. The dialogue itself isn't necessarily very interesting. Basically what's going on is Joker sent a couple of his goons to go and trash Batman's Batmobile. Batman triggered the automatic defense mechanism, but nevertheless he still has to go, he has to get to the Batmobile because he has to get a piece of equipment from inside. And so we are going to do that first and foremost, but like I said in the last video, especially this early on in the game, even though I'm not going to be focusing on getting all of the collectibles, all of the Riddler challenges, I am going to make it a point to get the ones that are at least on my direct path. And so you saw right there, I just got one in the Watchtower. I got the Riddler trophy at the start of this video. And then right here, if you grapple up to the top of this Watchtower, you can find another Riddler trophy. And as you can see in the top left corner of the screen, all those serve to do is increase your experience, which will allow you to make several upgrades quicker. And you're going to see there's actually a fair amount of combat in this part of the game. And so it's very helpful to get some of those combat-related upgrades early on. Now right here, what you're going to do once you get into this area is you're going to grapple up top, drop down the other side, and you'll see these two thugs pointing their guns through the gate, and basically they're waiting there to ambush Batman, but because we anticipated their attack, they will fail in their pursuits. Now we're going to come to Arkham North here, and in front of me you'll see the enemies trashing the Batmobile. There are quite a few of them. And so again, remember, on hard difficulty, whenever we engage in combat like this, the hardest part of it is that the enemies do not have counter indicators. So you see right there, that enemy just ran up to me. That enemy was about to hit me with the pipe, but I was able to counter their attacks by pressing the triangle button on PlayStation, Y button on Xbox. And again, remember, there are no counter indicators. So on lower difficulties, when an enemy is about to strike you, you'll see these blue lightning bolts above their head, and that's your indicator that you need to press the counter button. But on hard difficulty, those lightning bolts do not exist, and instead you have to be ever vigilant during the combat sections, and you have to keep an eye on every single inmate in the fight, and you have to pay attention to their body movements, because if you see them about to strike at you, that's your only indication that you have to press the counter meter. So it is a pretty big addition. I think I really enjoy the hardest difficulty on these games. As you guys know who have been following my channel, the Arkham games are some of my favorite games to ever exist. And I've covered every single game on my channel, and I've covered every single game on the hardest difficulty. And I've talked about this a lot on my channel, but making a good hardest difficulty for a video game, I feel like it's a very hard thing to do. And the thing that I always reference, the example that I always reference, is the two Evil Within games. I think that the Evil Within 1 on Akumu mode is one of the best challenges ever crafted in the art of making a video game. And I think that Evil Within 2's classic mode was just not fun at all. I didn't think it was a good difficulty. And so making a hardest difficulty, it's a challenge, because you have to make the difficulty challenging enough to push the player, you know, push them to their limits, keep them engaged. You have to make a difficulty that induces at least a little bit of rage, otherwise, you know, there's no challenge. What's the point? And at the same time, you can't make it too hard to the point where you just overly frustrate the gamer and they end up quitting, or they end up hating the game with all of their heart. There's a couple games that I've played where that was the outcome, and I hated the difficulty so much that after I beat it, I never touched the game again. And it's a shame, because, you know, they're still good games. It's just that those difficulties ruined it for me. Now, the reason I bring that up is because the Arkham games, I think they did a good job with the hardest difficulty. I think it's a pretty fair challenge, and I think a lot of that is because of the fact that when you do these combat encounters, there is no counter indicator. I really do feel like that's a big testament to the player's skill in this game, and I think that it really goes to show you know, I don't know how to quite put this in words, but at the beginning of the game, so right here you're going to see two enemies on the right that are doing a little bit of construction. You're going to be able to creep up and do 2 stealth attacks. Clearly this guy in the background, he is hard at work hammering something because he somehow did not see his best buddy just get taken out right there. So yeah, two stealth takedowns right there, very simple. And then off in the distance, we're going to make our way towards another combat encounter, another big one. Again, remember, during this challenge walkthrough, I won't be taking any damage. So the combat encounters do become a bit more difficult when you impose that challenge. But of course, that's the point of a challenge walkthrough. Now, right here, you can go into this little building on the dock and get a recording, which serves as another Riddler collectible, and again, just increase your experience. Now you're going to see the medical building off in the distance. I'm going to go up this little elevator shaft right here, just zip right up and get aggressive with this fight. Basically, you want to hit the enemy first. You don't want to have them run to you. Now, one of the biggest pieces of strategy that you have to bring into these combat encounters is it's all about the location. So where you're actually fighting the enemies makes a big difference. There are going to be times in this game where you have to fight a lot of enemies in a small enclosed area like a hallway or something not much bigger than a closet. Whereas you see here, I'm fighting, 6 guys, and I'm in a pretty big area. You know, I'm on the top of this floor of the medical facility, and I have a lot of room to work with. I have a lot of area to navigate, and that makes fighting easier because it allows you to spread out the enemies. And when you spread out the enemies, it decreases your chances of getting hit because the enemies have a farther way to get to you. You know, you're not as all conglomerated in one area. It just makes things easier. Now, right here, you're going to go inside and see a brief bit of dialogue with Harley.
Hey, scram, bats! This is my me time.
Where's Gordon?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I'm over here.
Shut up!
Ah, you crazy bitch. Harley!
Ah!
What's he doing here? It's too early.
I'm sorry, Puddin'. Don't be angry with me. Mwah!
Go, you little minx. I can never stay mad at you.
Sorry, B-Man. You'll have to find another way. Bye now.
Alright guys, so as you heard from Harley, we cannot get into the building this way. So she has Gordon right there. That's our objective right now if you missed it. Also, another thing I should point out is technically right now we're supposed to be tracing Gordon's track. So he left his pipe at the crime scene, and that's kind of what we're supposed to be tracking. And so you would do that by using your detective vision, and you would pick up like the smoke molecules in the air. However, I did not turn on the detective vision because I already knew where to go. So if for whatever reason you are getting lost, you could just follow me verbatim where I'm going. So I went around to the one side to get that Riddler trophy, but the actual entrance into the building is going to be right here. You'll see this wall blocking our way, and of course we can get rid of the wall with our newly acquired explosive gel. So we're going to do just that. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this section of the game, this particular video, part 2 of my series, this is a good section because you already saw a fair amount of combat. We've already had a couple big combat encounters. You're also going to see some good stealth encounters in this video. I think 2 of them, if I remember correctly. You're going to see another big combat encounter, and there's also going to be a couple of just different type of tasks that we have to do in order to rescue some of these doctors. And so once you're climbing through these vents here, you're going to want to get ready. First, you can take a right here, go down these vents, and you'll find a Riddler trophy at the end of the little channel, so you might want to pick that up. But like I was saying, I think that this is a good video. This video here kind of encapsulates a lot of the different types of encounters you'll see in a Batman Arkham game. And I think whenever you see a good variety of those encounters in one particular video, I think that makes for a good video. Now anyway, we're going to come to the sanatorium here, and there are going to be 3 enemies inside. 5 enemies. And we're going to get aggressive here. We're not going to wait. So here we go. First, on this upper walkway, you're going to crouch along it. You're going to take out this guy right here. Now you're going to approach this staircase going down, and you're going to wait a second. So you see this guy in front of me. I'm going to wait until he kind of turns a little bit, so you can see he's turned to the left right now. Sometimes he'll be facing towards you, so you just want to wait until he's looking towards the left. Drop down, perform another silent takedown. Now quickly go over to this guy here, do a silent takedown on him. Now at this point you can see there are only 2 enemies left, and now we're going to do a little bit of trickery. So what I'm going to do, first and foremost, is I am going to equip my explosive gel. You can see that this enemy is standing in a little structure that has a collapsible roof, and so I'm going to spray the explosive gel right here. Now, in order to maintain my stealth once I explode that wall, I'm going to grapple up to this gargoyle here, explode the ceiling, and then instantly do a glide takedown on this unfortunate bloke right here. And there you go, 5 guys taken down, and I didn't count, but probably somewhere around 30 to 40 seconds, I would imagine. That was pretty quick. And again, guys, this all goes, you know, just like when I did my Resident Evil 4 challenge walkthrough. I put a lot of effort into planning out my routes in this game, so all of the Predator encounters are going to be very carefully planned for maximum efficiency.
I don't know what happened. One minute we were doing our evening rounds, and the next, armed thugs burst into the room and took us hostage.
Did they have anyone with them?
They took someone into the elevator. I couldn't tell who it was.
They obviously didn't want to be followed. The elevator appears to have been powered down. You're going to be okay here.
We'll be fine.
What about the others? We heard gunfire. They could be dead. We should go and help.
Oh no, I forgot. Dr. Kellerman was in the patient observation room, and Dr. Chen went to surgery.
And Dr. Young went to X-ray.
Okay, stay here. I'll find the other doctors.
I'm here, Mike. Hold still. I'll get you free.
You okay?
Alright guys, after that cutscene, we're going to drop down here, and you can solve a riddle right here that involves Killer Croc. So go ahead and scan that busted up little prison cell, and that will unlock, or that will solve the riddle. TikTok newsflash, whatever else it said. Now, once you come to this hallway here, you're going to see these lines on the floor. One of them's going to be blue, another one's going to be red, and another one's going to be yellow. There are currently 3 doctors that are in trouble, and we have to rescue all 3 of them. You can find a doctor at the end of each colored path, and obviously you can do each path, or you can save each doctor in whatever order you choose. I always just go left to right, so I'm going to go blue, red, yellow. Again, it really doesn't make that big of a difference. You're going to see that every one of these encounters is a bit different, and that's another reason why I think this particular video is a pretty fun one. Now, after taking out those goons before going through the door, you're going to see 2 more goons right here. Perform an instant takedown on one of them, and then you can do a quick combat knockout on the other one. Now, inside the next room, Aaron Cash, one of the security guards here, a pretty famous character in the Arkham franchise, him and a doctor are caught in there. The room has filled with Joker toxin, and the fans, the ventilation fans, are malfunctioning. So much like we did in the first level of this game, we're going to have to get those fans working. So what you're going to want to do is creep over to the right side of the map. You can use detective vision if it helps, and you can see the control box all over here in the distance. So go ahead and throw a batarang at it. That will turn on the first ventilation fan, and then it's just a matter of turning on the other 2. Again, it's all very simple. You shouldn't have too much trouble here as long as you just are patient and make sure. It really does help if you turn on your detective vision. That way you have an easier time seeing those control boxes. So the next one's going to be behind you once you jump over this gap here. And then the third one is kind of tricky. What you're going to do, you can see this inmate hanging from the ceiling. You're actually going to throw a batarang at the rope that is suspending him. He'll fall down, and quite humorously, he'll crash into the ceiling right there. And that will reveal the third and final control box. Now, one note I do want to make for those of you watching this series, if you're a fan of the channel, if you've seen me cover other Arkham games, you'll know that the Arkham games are not divided into specific levels. So, it's not like Uncharted or Resident Evil where you have Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. The game is not so much Arkham Asylum, but definitely Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Knight. Those games are somewhat open world. You can do side quests instead of carrying on with the main mission. Now, Arkham Asylum, because this is the first game in the franchise, There aren't any side quests, it is only the main story, but nevertheless, there are still no specific chapters. The game is all kind of one fluid flowing game, but nevertheless, there are still, you know, somewhat well-defined sections. So the first video in this series, I called it Intensive Treatment because we were in the intensive treatment facility. This video here is going to be called the medical facility because we're in the medical facility. And then the next video is going, I don't actually know what the next video is going to be called, even though I have it recorded. I don't know what I'm going to title it at the moment. But the thing I wanted to point out is if you watched my original walkthrough for this game, the first thing you might note is that it is going to be structured slightly differently than my original walkthrough. So, for example, in the original walkthrough, my second video consisted of this right here, and then it also consisted of 2 other boss fights that occur after we save all of these doctors. So the video ended up being like 40 minutes long. Now this video is only 24 minutes long, and that's because I'm actually going to save the 2 boss fights for the next video.
Not for me.
Now, anyway, right here.
It's true. You really are the world's greatest detective. How did you do that, Bats?
Okay, so right here, you're going to see this trap springs, and a bunch of enemies are going to start dropping down for a rather large combat encounter, certainly the largest combat encounter we've had so far. Now, hopefully you've been paying attention to the upgrades that I've been making. So I made the upgrade that gives me critical strikes, and now you can see that I have this this new power where once I build up my combo meter to a certain level, I'm offered to do an instant takedown by pressing, so right there you see on my screen, circle and triangle, or again if you're playing on the Xbox it will be B and Y. But that move is an upgraded move that you have to unlock with an upgrade, but it is easily one of the best moves not only in this game but also in the entire Arkham franchise. It is an instant takedown. So what you have to do is you have to build up your combo meter. Once you build it up high enough, you'll see the combo meter turn yellow. And once it turns yellow, that means you can execute one of those special combat moves. And the particular one that you saw me use a lot right here, the one that involves pressing circle and triangle, that is an instant takedown. So it's basically an instant kill on an enemy, and that is very helpful because it's a very quick and easy way to clear a room that has a lot of enemies in it.
I tried to tell you, I couldn't speak.
Relax, you're safe now. I can handle these low-life thugs.
Okay, so there we go. 2 doctors saved, 1 left to go. Again, those upgrades are very important. Now again, remember, because I am doing a no damage walkthrough, I'm going to make sure that I don't upgrade the health. Because normally when I play these games, that's the first thing I upgrade is the health, but obviously that would be irrelevant in this walkthrough since we're going to be taking no damage. Now another note for the upgrades, you'll see that there's a lot of different pieces of equipment that you can upgrade in the menu, such as batarangs and you know, other pieces of equipment once you get them later on in the game. Upgrading the equipment is also unnecessary for the purpose of beating the game. You do not need to upgrade the equipment. So for example, later on in the game, Batman's going to get this like cryptographic sequencer, and you can upgrade it so that it has a wider range. You don't need that to beat the game. You do not need that upgrade to beat the game. All that upgrade does is it helps you get some of the Riddler challenges. So, if all you're trying to do is beat the game, what you're going to want to do is focus your upgrades on the combat-related upgrades. And then if you happen to not being a no-damage run, you can also do the health upgrades. But the point is, all of the equipment-related upgrades, you can really save those for last. Because once you beat this game, then you'll be able to free roam the island, and that's when you'll, you know, probably get all of those collectibles. And so you can definitely save the... you can save those upgrades for last because you really don't need them to complete the main game. Now right here we're going to go into this room. The 3rd doctor is inside of this structure, and what you're going to do is you're going to spray explosive gel on 2 separate walls. So there's the first wall, and the second wall is going to be around this corner right here. So go ahead and do that. Then you're going to detonate both of the explosions, and that will save the 3rd doctor. I think her name is Dr. Amanda Young. She's actually an important character in this game, so I'm going to go ahead and pause for a moment so you can enjoy this bit of dialogue, and we'll pick up after.
What's going on? They were talking like they were in control. Is it true that Joker escaped?
Unfortunately, yes. But not for long.
I'd been studying Joker's case for months when he broke out. The warden was very specific he wanted Joker cured.
Bad publicity will affect his campaign for mayor.
That'll be the least of it. God, I almost forgot. They said they were moving through the facility, hunting down the other doctors.
Not a problem. All staff have been rescued. You'll be safer if you remain here.
Alright guys, so once you have saved all 3 doctors, again remember you can do it in any order you choose, but the important thing here is once you save all 3, you're going to return to the sanatorium, and we are actually going to have another Predator encounter, this time with only 3 enemies. Now right here we are going to be introduced to a new enemy type, so be warned. He's going to pop out of this box, and these guys are called, I think, the Maniacs. And the way, so you can see they're wearing these special suits, kind of like Hannibal Lecter's suit. And the way that you take them down is instead of striking them, you actually have to stun them first. So what you do is you press the circle button, or B if you're on Xbox, and Batman will perform a stun with his cape. Then while the enemy is stunned, you can strike them as normal, and then it becomes a simple takedown.
Did you find them? Are they okay?
Yes, they're safe now.
Batman, we've got another problem.
I need to get back to the mansion. All my research notes are there. We can't risk Joker getting his hands on them.
It's not safe, Doctor. The island's a war zone. You won't stand a chance.
It's my life's work. You really don't have the authority to...
I'll get her there, Batman. You ask me, it's about time for a little payback.
I don't like it, but... Who called the elevator?
Wasn't us. It's coming from the lower floor.
Cash, take
Alright guys, so here's the last part of the video. We're going to have one more stealth encounter.
Barricade yourselves in.
So we're going to be back in this room. You should recognize it from the previous stealth encounter. And you're going to see 3 enemies come in. Immediately, as all 3 of them enter this passageway, jump down and perform a silent takedown on this guy right here. And you do have to do that one pretty quickly, because that guy, he has a tendency to turn around. And so if you wait too long, he'll see you. And obviously he has a gun, so you don't want him to see you. But once you take him out, the rest of it's very simple. Then you're going to drop down to this lower level. You can take out this guy right next to this little heat radiator. And then you can see this guy up on the walkway. I'm going to grapple up, wait a second, make sure he doesn't look over the edge, and then take him out. And there you go. Very quick and easy way to take down all 3 guys. And that will be it, guys. That'll be the end. Oh, there's a funny death animation right there. Or ragdoll animation, I should say. But there you go, guys. That's the end of this sequence of the game. You're going to go into this elevator here, and you're going to... Joker's going to appear on the screen, and he's just going to talk about, oh, you shouldn't have gotten in this elevator. I could easily kill you right now, but I'm not going to. I want you to face your fears. And as you guys know, I have a favorite character in the Batman universe, and his name is Dr. Jonathan Crane, Scarecrow, and we will be seeing him in the next video. So I hope you guys are excited for that. But anyway, guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this part of the walkthrough. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I always like to ask this question, so I just told you Scarecrow is my favorite villain. I'd be curious to know who your favorite Batman villain is. Let me know in the comments. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
There is no Crane. They're all over me. Only Scarecrow.